I'm Heather.
And I'm Hannah.
And we're here to kind of talk to you all out there about life as the female.
Yes, we're two very normal women who have encountered, growing in the workplace. We're in a major transition culturally, in society, in the world, and what that looks like. I think we were one of the first generations impacted by this major cultural shift in thinking. And what does that look like? How does that affect you, us? And we're literally learning as we go, but as we find things that work, we wanted to create a safe space for us to share that, to bring you up, to elevate you, other women, or whoever is watching. It could apply to men too, and anyone else. And hopefully this will be a place for you to share, comment, and relate your experiences and teach us something. And that's really what this is designed for, I would think. Right?
Yeah. So we're excited to share with you, and we hope you will stick around. So today, Hannah, I'd like to talk a little bit about us as we are, you're coming into your 30s. Mm-hmm. I've been in my 30s for a little bit now. And we're still technically a younger generation in the workforce. We didn't just start, but we're still kind of on the younger end of the workforce currently. Yeah. And kind of how we've experienced coming kind of out of college, getting into the workforce, working our way to where we are now, and how it's affected us. We've gone through things like Imposter Syndrome, how do we feel as a woman in the workplace, stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to discuss with you a few of those topics. Now, when I got out of college, I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, I didn't feel very prepared. Like, I went to college, I tried my hardest in college, and I just was like, am I good enough? Because I literally just studied out of the books and did my thing or whatever. And coming out of college, you're like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
I'm so stuck.
Oh, absolutely. You hear those wheels screech, and you're like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And nothing I have done in my life can prepare me for this.
Right.
In a way.
Yeah.
I definitely felt that. And especially over the years, you find sometimes, this might be true for you, you find yourself in a totally different career than what you set out to be. I mean, that's true for me.
Same.
And the work you do, to put in and get ahead and to work hard, because you have pride in what you're doing, can really, it can move for you. And if you're not careful in how you're thinking, can definitely backfire. And like you touched on imposter syndrome,
Yep.
Imposter syndrome, I think, affects all of us. I think it was Michelle Obama who recently stated, right, in her book that she, of all women, hears that little voice in her head that tells her, she's not good enough. And she's Michelle Obama, right?
She has been to all of these different meetings with the highest people, the highest power. Yeah. And she recognized that, we all think like all these people that are higher level than us, that have all this education, all of this knowledge, are super duper smart, way smarter than us. How could we ever live up to their expectation? And she was like, yeah, not everybody with the highest power are the smartest people out there. Just saying. And I think I kind of agree with that. Like, we all kind of put ourselves in a position of like, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Am I able to like live up to the expectation of this employer, of my boss, of the people around me? And it's just kind of like, not everyone is actually smarter than you, or they might be smarter in certain areas and you're smarter in other areas. And that's something that I'm personally working on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you feel about it? Does it affect you too?
Oh, it affects me probably every day. Just today I was in a meeting and I was like, gosh, I've got all these questions, but I'm not going to ask them because I'm in the room with all these higher level people, CEOs, VPs, data analysts, all sorts of people. And I was like, I'm not going to ask my question. And someone that I would deem smarter than me asked the question that was in my head. And I was like, man, I was kicking myself. And that was that little imposter voice.
Yep.
Saying, oh no, that's not good enough. But really, I am.
Yeah.
You take a step back and just ask the question. It's, if you just go for it, if you just do it, what's going to happen? Maybe someone else, if I'd asked that question, maybe that other person would have thought, oh gosh, great question. And that's something, I'm trying to do. I've got a few things, but Heather, what are some of the things that, you've been doing, or questions you've been asking yourself, or trying to challenge yourself a little bit?
Yeah, I'm trying to kind of ground myself a little bit and really think through, is this something that's really going to affect me? So for example, if you're going to have a question and ask it to someone like a CEO or a VP or something, there's always that fear of, is this a good question? Am I asking the right thing at the right time? Do I look smart enough? Am I saying the right things? Well, what if you did say the right thing? Or what if, what's actually going to happen to you if you make this suggestion? And is it really going to affect you, right? Like, how is it going to affect you? What's the bad thing that can happen, right? We always think, oh, maybe something bad's going to happen, or maybe this will happen. And we think too far ahead. Whereas, what are we really going to accomplish by this? So those are some things that I feel as women, we don't really allow ourselves to kind of break through those barriers and allow ourselves to really speak to what we're thinking at that moment. We always have to analyze it and really be like, oh, what's going to happen if I say this? And what's going to happen if I say that? And I've been working with some coaches that have really been helping me really process my own thoughts and how it's really not going to hurt me in the end to speak out and to really speak my mind about something.
It's so true. It really isn't. And I know that's the challenge for me. Just thinking like, okay, that nothing bad's going to happen if I ask this question.
Right.
Really either way, I show like I'm thinking about it or I'm actively engaged. So yeah, we're into 2020 now. So what are some of the things that you're thinking you're going to use to overcome this little imposter voice in your head?
I'm trying to put myself out there a little bit more. First of all, working with you on this project, working with someone that I feel comfortable with and someone that is, going to empower me, and we can kind of help each other.
Yes.
That's just step one. So I think that just having more challenges in my life, getting my brain going, but in different ways, not just focusing on work all the time.
Yes.
Yes. There's different ways of challenging your mind.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want to do. How about
I
you?
agree. For me, I've been so busy over the last 3 years dealing with like work, school, life's really fun and not so fun surprises that you kind of lose yourself. And then the imposter syndrome's on top of it all, like, oh, all this stuff's going on, you don't have time for you, and you just stuff that stuff down. But recently, I was just thinking about how to find my passion again, and I think that can also provide your empowerment too. Yep. And so I decided to write, I'm 29. I'm just throwing that out there. So I wrote 29 things I want to do before my 30th birthday. And then on my 30th birthday, or that will be the 30th thing. But really, I should start with that first. And that's self-acceptance and self-love. Just love yourself where you're at. You're great as you are. Yeah. You're empowered as you are. And the rest of it is just chiseling away. The stuff that doesn't belong, or adding a new notch, to something you've accomplished. I saw a note on somebody's wall that was what we think success is, just a straight line, and what success actually is boom. Like, it's just this crazy tornado of stuff.
Yeah, and once you become successful, you feel like you're at the top of your game. That's kind of when we tend to like start falling. Yep. Right? And then once you start falling, that kind of picks you up to say, oh, I don't want to be falling anymore. And then you have to like climb back up to where you want to be. Yeah. So it's just interesting how life does that. I've put my mind to things before and I've failed at it, but I've learned from the failures more so than I've learned from really driving myself. Just because I think that when you fail, you can kind of rebuild that failure into something more successful. And I find that a lot of very successful people fail more often than
they
not.
Succeed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been learning from those people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it's Harvard. Their acting school is you risk, you fail, you risk, you succeed. That's kind of their motto. Right. On how they work their students. And being a theater person, that was one of the things that they would teach us a lot, is just put it all out there. And if you fail, you're going to rebuild your blocks and you're going to start again.
I want to be real with you guys. I am still learning a lot about this stuff. So that's why I'm sharing it now as I'm in the process of learning it, because I want to see the success that I can become for myself, and how Hannah and I can both kind of grow together.
Yes.
And learn from all of you too, because, you know, like we said, life is just comes in these waves, and we're finally recognizing it. But put your questions down below.
Yes.
Because we want to have this as more of an interactive thing, not
Correct.
just us talking at you. Because again, we're not experts by any means. We're just sharing our experience, our life experience, and want to continue to share it as we kind of develop ourselves even further. You know?
Absolutely. As we find what works and what's helpful, you know, we share a lot even with each other, and that's kind of how this was born, was like, well, if we need to know that, so does somebody else. So you are hopefully that someone else that needs to learn it no matter what stage you're at. So please, like she said, put your questions down below so we can read them, get back to you. This is a safe place to ask questions, you know, to have knowledge.
Yeah, share some links. Like, I'm always looking for articles that help empower people, empower myself. I've been sharing a lot of links to articles that I find with Hannah. If that's something that you're interested in seeing, us kind of talking about articles that we find and kind of talking about how we feel about them, let us know if that's something that's interesting to you.
Well, thank you for listening to us, and we will see you soon, Honest She.
Bye.
Bye.